Welcome back to episode 3 of the Tip Off Basketball Podcast with your hosts, Nick Hoffman, Josh
Blakley.
Blakley. I forget sometimes. And returning back this week after some technical difficulties, yours truly, Isaiah Winfree. I would ask how you guys are doing, but honestly, we don't care on this show. Let's roll into the first topic. Josh, what you got on the table for us, man?
So were you not here last week because security didn't let you on the plane, like Harden? Is that kind of what's going on?
More or less, yeah. A little more feces, a little less jewelry, but yeah.
They said get back to the player, get back to the practice facility.
Yeah. I just wanted to touch on that real quick and let's get this out of the way. But that whole situation is so messy. Where do you guys think that's going to go? Does Harden play a game for the Sixers this year? Is he traded before the deadline? Is he? I
think he plays and he gets traded before the deadline. If they're serious about what they have, and what they have is strong. You know, one of my favorite players watching so far in this few days we've had of games, Tyrese Maxey. Yep. You can't bring James Harden back and interrupt what Tyrese Maxey has going on. I don't think you can. And if you do bring him back, you bring him back in spurts so that way his value goes up and you trade him before the deadline. Regardless, he better be off this team by trade deadline, or Joel Embiid and probably Maxey are looking at what's going on.
I think Maxey is young enough to stick around and get his, how would you say, not collateral.
Like accolades.
Oh, yeah. No, he's going to get his collateral bag because he is the collateral superstar. If James Harden doesn't leave Philly, that implodes. They lose Joel Embiid, 100% happening. James Harden obviously wants out. Can't count on that. Tobias Harris getting paid way too much money, and if you lost your two best players, it's time to blow it up and send the money suck somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
What do you have left? Tyrese Maxey and young guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he'll stick around, but they lose those other three guys. Yeah. If James Harden doesn't move before February.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. What about you, Josh? Where do you think is going to happen with this?
It's tough for me just because I think Harden's one of the most unpredictable guys. I mean, we've seen this guy give up on the basketball court. And at this point, really the only team that showed interest in him was the Clippers. And even them, they're kind of backing out. They're just kind of throwing garbage. They're not going to bid against themselves. I could see this getting pretty ugly to the point where he doesn't play and we run into that situation at the end of the year where it's like the Sixers can basically hold him hostage. He can't sign a contract anywhere else. And he might be on that team and get traded this offseason. We might see him, work out like a sign and trade type of thing. And I think that's more likely than him playing and this working out.
Yeah, I kind of hear you with him not playing. I think he's making it a point to show that he wants to play, and that's what we saw with the flight and with the practice facility situation. And that's important because it's not the Ben Simmons situation. He's showing, hey, I'm going to show up. You're still going to have to pay me if you don't want to play me. And I think that's huge in this.
But do the Sixers want him to play? I mean,
I don't think
from the
matters,
aspect
right?
of they need value, right? And though they don't want to get fined and everything, they can't really just bench the guy. But, I mean, to me, it almost seems like this whole offseason, Nick Nurse was planning on not having him on the team. The Sixers have looked damn good. They're, 5 seconds away from being 3-0. That Bucks game was up in the air right to the end. Lillard hits that shot. So I don't see the Sixers really in a rush to get him back, and I think they're going to try to keep him off the court as long as they can.
I'm on James Harden's side with this. I really do think with him showing that he wants to at least be there with the team, at least play, that if they're not going to play him, so be it. They're still going to have to pay him. And I think that's huge in this situation because it's not a Kyrie situation. It's not a Ben Simmons situation. He still wants to play, and they're just not allowing it, which means he still has to get paid. And that's huge.
I think
for the Sixers, right?
They
can't use the money elsewhere.
And he also falls under that rule where if he's healthy and they're just choosing not to play him, they're going to get fined this year.
Yep.
He's made the 2 All-Star games. And
they were hoping with the new rule that Commissioner put in before this offseason started, this last one, that if a player chooses not to play, you can then take their salary and get it refunded by the NBA and be able to allocate it elsewhere.
Mhm.
That's a new rule they added. You can only do it with one player. They were hoping that's what was going to happen. James Harden is saying, no, that's not what's going to happen. You're going to either play me and you're gonna pay me. It's regardless for him, and
Yeah.
or you're gonna have to move him. It's a strong arm. It's not the greatest of decisions to do, but at this point, what are you gonna do? You already put yourself in this hole in the offseason. At this point, you're playing your chips, and your chips are, hey, I gotta still try and get my money. Can't
I
hate
think
the guy.
there are two things about this. The first of which is going to sound wild and a little old heady, but follow me here. When was James Harden the MVP?
26, no, 2018, 17, was it something like that?
He's been contending for the MVP from arguably 2013 to 2016, right? And he won it, or 20 to the point he won it, right?
His Rockets years. Yeah.
Yep.
And those Rockets teams were good.
Yep.
Where'd he go after
No,
that?
he was good, and I think that's
That
he
Rockets
made them
team,
good. He made
if
them
they
That
good.
could
Rockets
ran it
team
back
would have a
with
ring.
the Warriors,
Yeah,
Yep.
they should have a ring.
facts. Where did he go after that?
Nets
Brooklyn.
How did that go?
injuries in the beginning, and then when he would play, Kyrie wasn't there. So a lot of the things that they use to put that, you got to realize when you have superstar teams, if one of them is injured, you're not as good as most teams, even if you
For
have
sure.
that many stars,
Because,
because the
yeah,
money
there's
is put
only
into
so
a guy
many
who's not there.
resources. For sure.
So
We got to
I mean, I
remember
don't
how we
blame him for
got
not
to
winning.
Brooklyn. We got to remember how we got to Brooklyn, right? He was
Fair.
on a team that could have contended for a championship. Front office, James Harden don't get along. He gets fat. He gets shipped out of there. He gets shipped out of there. Says he doesn't want to play. Shows us he doesn't want to play. He goes. He gets to Brooklyn. There's two other stars. The stars don't align. Health isn't where it needs to be. We never see all three of them on the floor together. Was that a pretty transition? Him going from Brooklyn to Philly?
No,
Why does this man still have a job?
Because
mean,
he can score
he's
40
good.
points in a playoff game.
he's good.
I
I
mean,
think
he just. I get what you're saying. I think his disrespect for the game and stuff has been crazy, and just the player backlog of him giving up on loose balls, the couple games that it looks like he played with concussion just because he didn't give a crap about what was going on. It's bad, but he's also scoring 40 points against the Celtics last year in the playoffs.
I think that the NBA needs to use James Harden, especially while he's still in playing shape, right? While we still can expect him to give us a playoff game every here and there. They need to set the example that being a professional is a part of being in the professional basketball realm. James Harden is a beautiful example of everything that is wrong with sports culture, especially basketball, right? You don't have to care. You don't have to try. If you can drop 40, we'll work with what you can give us. And that's seeped its way from the NBA all the way down to Pee Wee basketball. It's diluting people's brains. So if a child can drop 30 in a kid's game, they not going to make him grow as a basketball player the way that they need to, right? We're losing talent and a lot of good attitudes, all because James Harden gets a chance to be a diva and get paid for it. I think he deserves his money, right? He signed the contract. That's the difference between the NBA and the NFL. In the NBA, when they say you're getting money, you're getting it, right? You're getting paid. He deserves that. He signed the contract. This should be the last one. He doesn't look like he wants it. He doesn't show us that he wants it. He got a couple impressive playoff games.
Here's my problem with that. Here's my
Mhm.
problem with that, right? And it's the same thing like when we had the Zion Omeka Okafor. No, Omeka, who's the guy that we
Kwame
you would rather have
Brown.
Kwame Brown than Zion on your team. This is my problem with that, right? But with the James Harden thing is I don't want to go to that. Okay, cool. He definitely should never get paid this much again, right? In any contract, any team ever picks him up, and that's more than likely what's going to happen. But he's still worth more than a minimum. You know what I mean? And if you can
With
get
the
him for
baggage?
6-7 million, yeah. Oh, with the baggage, if you get him for 6-7 million, you have a superstar level player for 6-7 million with baggage, I'm taking
When
it any
you
day.
pay him 6-7 million, people gonna talk to him like he's worth 6-7 million. We haven't seen James Harden on the bench since he was in OKC. Do you think he's gonna handle that well, or do you think he's gonna turn into Melo?
When they paid Melo that much, they didn't talk to Melo like he was worth that much. They talked to Carmelo like he was Carmelo.
I don't think a team is going to pay him more than. I don't think he'd sign for 6-7 million. I think the league has already kind of spoken out. Like, if you look at this free agency, the Rockets didn't want him. He told them, he had the meeting with the Rockets, and he basically told them he wants to get back to that leading the league in scoring.
That was before the drama, right?
That was before all this. This is the offseason. The Rockets said, "Yeah, we have no interest." That's the whole reason he re-signed in Philadelphia. Like, I feel like the league. I mean, the only team that has shown any interest in them is the Clippers. And here's 2 second-round picks, or a protected first and a lightly protected first. I mean, like, that's crazy to me. For a guy of James Harden's talent, that trade offer is, like, borderline disrespectful. And I think that goes to prove, like, the league is sick of this crap.
Have we ever seen a successful, and I mean anywhere, right? Have we ever seen a successful business where the face of the business is saying that the brains of the business is a liar and he doesn't want to be connected to them?
No, but I don't know. But I do
Warren
know
Buffett isn't out here saying that Coke is this, that, and the third.
This is the part of it that I'm really having difficulty with, right? Is that cool? James Harden's value, we can just make it disappear, pay him through this year. He's gone in the offseason. Is what it is. Bygones be bygones. Nobody pays him because he wants more than what they say he's worth, etc. Right? And he can dissolve that way, and we can lose a generational talent, which he is. We can.
I think he's given us all he's going to give us.
Maybe, but we say that about a lot of. I'm telling you, if Chris Paul doesn't win a chip, he's given us all he can give us for the past 4 seasons. But that doesn't mean much. It's still entertaining basketball. At the end of the day, only one person out of 30 in the NBA is going to be happy at the end of the season. So whether he's a champion, he provides a championship or not is kind of not meaningless, but it doesn't mean as much in this conversation. What means much is that he elevates teams to a performance level of that, which he clearly does, right? Am I wrong on that? Even with the drama, he clearly
was good with Philly last year, but
he was actually really good.
It's going to sound crazy, right? How much better were they with James Harden last year than how much better were they then than they will be that same point this season with Maxey?
Okay, Maxey's doing a lot in his role because he has to play his role and Harden's role, but that doesn't mean that's sustainable. We see players who get more of a role and they get more of the numbers. They have crazy games like Jordan Poole whenever Curry's out, right? That doesn't mean that that's an effective way to win a championship. You know what I mean? Tyrese Maxey's snapping the first week, and he could snap the rest of the whole season. He could be an all-star. Does that mean, but are you going to bet on that and that alone?
In the playoffs.
Is Harden going to get them past the second round?
He could. That's my thing. If they're going to play as good as they are now and James Harden gets added and doesn't become James Harden, I'm the second guy and second guy only, which a lot of people were saying him and Maxey's relationship were amazing. Like, they have an amazing relationship.
Well, the players seem to like him.
I see him easily. He easily gives Maxey that second fiddle, and he doesn't take it. He probably wants third. But he also himself has been more of a PG for them, a facilitator. And I think I like that James Harden. He's been that for them. I like him on this team so much. I just don't think it ever works because he said the Daryl Morey thing. And that's the one issue. If he didn't say that, he could easily be on this team.
He can always walk that back. But that was just, he's done.
Well, all right. Before we move off of Philly, because we've been here a minute, right? Just around the table, real quick, what is one thing you think James Harden could say to get himself out of that Daryl Morey thing? This many months removed.
Nothing. Because Daryl Morey's not going to trade him away for crap. He's
high on drugs is probably the only good answer I have. And he probably has to fail a piss test after that.
No, because then it tarnishes his legacy, bad for sponsorships. Not a good deal.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think, and he's just looking at money right now. I think the only thing he can do is say, look, as a man, I apologize for saying that publicly. I do believe that as a person still. Stand on that, but also give your apology and then say, I want to play.
Move on.
But yeah,
shut
I
up and
want to
play.
play so that way it's easier for you to move me. If that's not what you want, that's cool, but I'm still gonna get paid. That's really all you can say, and that's all. Like that's the most realistic way going through it. We will eventually get back to the Sixers here, but first let's highlight some players who have had an amazing start to the season. We'll go to Levine in a second. I'll let y'all go ahead and say a player yourself, but it's not him. Josh, who you got this week that has had a phenomenal performance?
So this is a homer pick, but Chet's just been freaking awesome.
Was that 7 blocks?
Seven blocks in a game. Hit the game tying 3 with under a minute to go. And this wasn't a standstill 3. It was they were on a fast break. He's trailing. He catches the ball in motion. His weight's going forward, and he hits the 3. That was a huge shot for a first-year guy. The thing with Holmgren is the game doesn't look too fast for him. He never looks lost out there. It's too physical for him at times. I mean, we saw the Drummond cross up. We saw, Jokic bully the crap out of him. But the game is not too fast for him, and that's pretty rare with rookies. He seems to, mostly be in the right position. It also helps that he's 7'1" with a huge wingspan and can cover a lot of ground to make up for it. But he's been great. He's been awesome.
What's crazy is that Chet is on. I like talking about him now because I can mark him off my thing for later. Chet has had such a hot start amongst the rookies as well that he's made it. With wins, you have to give him the edge for Rookie of the Year so far because his team is performing better. But he has 0.4 below in points per game than Wemby. He has the same rebounds, the same assists, more blocks, and 1 more minute only. The guys look phenomenal for a first year. But you brought up the Thunder, and I do want to say they feel, especially that game against the Nuggets, they feel like a team that is still another 2-3 years before they're serious, at all. It doesn't feel like it could be too early to say. It definitely is early. That Nuggets game showed a lot for me.
That Nuggets game, though, and I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but we kind of talked about this pre-show. The Thunder play 4 guards and Chet. Jalen Williams, they play him at power forward. He's a guard. He played point guard. He played point guard his whole career. I know he's bulked up. He's not a 4. The Denver Nuggets are just a terrible, terrible matchup for that team. Shea shot terribly as well.
2 points, right?
No, 7.
Yeah. 7, my bad.
But
5 in the
2
fourth,
in the first 3 quarters. It was pretty bad, but when I see the way they played the Bulls, when I see the way they played the Cavs, when I see the way they just played the Pistons tonight, I think they're probably a year away. I think this is going to be the warm-up year.
Are any of those teams, though, that this is something I had to take back and look at when I was writing all this? Are any of those teams they played besides the Nuggets competent teams right now? Even
so
the Cavs are looking
arguably the Cavs. Yeah, that's
arguable. But they're arguable for 5th, 6th in the East, not arguable for contention.
Here's the thing, though, is they've beaten the teams they're supposed to beat, and they've lost to the teams that they're supposed to lose to. I mean, the Denver Nuggets are by far the best team in the league. And they're coming out with a point to prove. Yeah. They beat the Bulls by 21. They beat the Pistons tonight pretty comfortably. That Cavs game, they were down 10 points with 2 minutes left and came back and won that game. So, I mean, like I said, the Nuggets are just really good. And I'm just not too worried about that.
The seven from an All-NBA. Here's my thing. When somebody makes an All-NBA team, especially first, in my eyes, you should never have below 10 points unless you got injured. You should never have below, even getting close to 10. And I'm like, why are you this is a horrible game for you.
Yeah.
This should never happen. And that doesn't happen with top 5 NBA guys in a season, usually ever. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
And that happened already for Shea. And we were all saying, I think we all
better early than late.
Yeah.
I hear you, but we all agreed before the season started he was a top 5 player, and if we didn't say top 5, he was in top 7 or top.
I'll stand
8.
on it.
But yeah, I still think he has the potential for that, but I'm starting to think those guys don't ever have games like this, ever. and Shea already had it this early. I know it's early, and he's still young. But I'm not saying they're a bad team. I'm saying I think everyone might be a little bit too early with the high for them. Because Chet looks good, Wemby looks good, but all the rookies are giving me the same energy of we're clearly rookies. And I was expecting Chet with the year off the bench, being able to watch and be with the team for his rookie season to have a little bit more of the I'm serious, I'm already there. Wemby with overseas experience. I was expecting that, but they all are very much clear rookies. And I think I was expecting more from them and this team of the Thunder. So and another team that I was expecting more of, and opposite of highlights, I guess. I want to highlight Levine. He had 51, amazing offensive game, but it didn't mean anything.
Not a
because we
thing.
still lost the game.
How many assists did he have in that game?
Zero.
Oh, go ahead and give us that shooting percentage. I know you got that too.
I don't even have it pulled
I'll
up.
find it. Don't worry about it. I'll find it.
Yeah. There's just no team for the Bulls. It feels like when the first game happened and they're trying to force Kobe White to be their point guard.
That's not going to work.
It looked okay game one, but then it took DeMar out of the ball, and then DeMar seems like he's a guy. DeMar went from like all-star to now he feels like, can he even make it in an East that isn't that contended?
They have 3 players in their starting 5 that can't defend. DeMar, Vooch, and Levine. None of those guys can defend.
We have no real big. We did just beat the Pacers, who are
21%. Keep going, but 21%.
He shot 21% from the field at 51 points. What was the how many?
I'm gonna find it.
Field goals. Give me the field goals. The number.
Yeah.
This is my thing, right? We just beat the Pacers, who are a hot start team, who have looked amazing, especially Mathurin, especially Tyrese Halliburton. Miles Turner's even looked decent. But we beat the Bulls are built to beat teams of the modern NBA. If you have a real big, a strong big, we just crumble. Even if you have a big who's big, like a Chet,
I was just gonna say, I mean, the Bulls, I don't really know what to make of them anymore, man.
Let's keep it 100, right?
Yeah, I mean, fair. I was definitely high on them.
Who in the playoff bracket do you look at, right? And I'm not even talking 1 through 8, dog. I'm talking 1 through 10. Who do you look at in that top 10 as Chicago? And you're like, we match up good against them. We should win this.
I'm gonna tell you right now. All right, like confidently right now, I'm looking at the top 15. So I think
they as a team shot 21%.
Yeah.
I just have to redact.
Oh, okay.
He shot 57%.
That's pretty good for 51 points. 57 is really good.
21 was a lot funnier.
Yeah, 21 was funny. So,
I was like, he jacked a lot of shots.
So in my eyes, we beat the Raptors. They look horrible. They look worse.
Are they top 10?
They're not a playoff team.
No,
I guess
I'll be looking at right now's top 10 because right now, because look, before today, the Nets were the last team in the East, and now they're the 10th.
That's what I'm saying. So if you could just name 5 teams that they can beat, and then we look at the teams that they can't beat, and we figure out where they fall.
So they beat Hornets, they beat Wizards, they beat
the Raptors.
The Raptors.
You think they beat the Nets?
I think they beat.
You want to say Detroit?
I want to say Detroit. We just beat the Pacers, so now to see the thing, I think it was a fluke against the Pacers. I think we beat the Pistons. I think we beat the Magic.
What about Atlanta?
No.
You know,
I think we
take Atlanta in a 7-game series.
I think we beat Atlanta. We have perimeter defenders only, and I think that helps against Atlanta.
You know, that's a good point.
Am I tripping? I think
no. I think I.
So you got Bulls at 8, Bulls at 9.
I did have Bulls as a playing team, and I can go look at it right now. And I'm not moving off of my predictions.
No, for sure.
A few months in.
It's hard for me as a not as seasoned basketball watcher.
I have Bulls at 7
over
And now that's looking dumb now. It's
no,
dumb.
no, you're no, because we're 4 games
it's
into the
7.
season.
It's
Yeah.
7. They did just win their first game finally. We did get pushed up all the way. We're at 7 right now. We're 2-2 actually.
Beautiful.
We're at 7 right now. We're a 500 team. That's what I expected us to be, is a 500 team. But our losses have looked horrible, and our wins.
Hey, that's how
looked
500 teams look.
But our wins have not looked good. And I hear you, but usually good 500 teams, decent 500 teams. I guess all 500 teams are the same. But their wins, they'll have wins that look great. They'll have losses that look not bad, right?
I think
But we haven't had any of those. We've just had bad, like wins that should not have won, and the losses that, like, clear losses, and it's not looked good for us.
I think thinking about Chicago in that perspective helps out a lot, right? Because if Chicago is your 500 in the East, right, the bad teams are going to be worse than Chicago. The good teams are going to be better than Chicago. Whether they're 7, whether they're 9, they are the 500 line, right? I think there's a difference between 500 teams that are good and good teams that are 500. Because I think good teams that are going through a stint and they're flirting with 500 look a lot different than teams that belong at 500.
I think
and I think Chicago belongs at 500 right now.
Us a season or two ago, the Chicago Bulls was a good team at 500. That was like, I'm talking about the season after we were the first.
That was healthy Lonzo, right?
And no, Lonzo was when we were the first seed. That was the year. That was the year right after. We were the first seed with Lonzo. And people forget that was 3 seasons ago, or something like that. At maximum 4, right? At max 4 seasons ago. So I expected us to be a good 500 team. It just seems like we're 500. That's fine. But the problem is that some of the teams that I thought were going to be breakout teams, like I was super high on the Pistons coming into this, and I look right every second of the way. I still have them at the 14th seed, but I thought they'd be a breakout team, and they've done that so far. And the problem is that the Bulls, if we have a lot of people forget that any team has an early setback, early bad few weeks, and unless you're a great team, you immediately set yourself off of the playoffs pretty quickly, especially with this new play-in thing. A lot of games mean a lot more, and we're seeing that. And I think those early signs mean a lot more this season. I could be tripping. That's how I'm basing a lot of this.
That's not a bad way to look at it either, man.
Go ahead. I got one more player highlight, Isaiah. Then we'll let you end that player highlights. De'Aaron Fox in that Lakers game. Domantas Sabonis got fouled out. De'Aaron Fox got an injury on his ankle on a drive. Got taken out the game. Went to the back. Came back in like a minute later. Balled out, limping the entire time. Forced OT. Malik Monk went crazy that game. Dude, the Kings. Every single time I watch them play, I just think of Joshua saying they're the first seed. And if the Nuggets didn't look as special as they were, I would say that you were right on the money. The Kings are looking like last year was the truth, and they're looking to prove it. It's like I've never cared about lighting the beam, but when I saw it happen against the Lakers, I was like, yeah, like that beam. You guys deserved that win. Hard fought, clutch.
That was one of the better regular season games we'll probably see like all season.
I don't know these
especially with the drama and regular season.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do we count the regular season games as the cup games? Because those could be, besides the finals, those could be some.
This could be interesting. Yeah, I think once we get into like the last 4 or so teams left in that cup, everyone's just gonna be like naturally competitive, and those games could be pretty good.
Yeah, no, those would be interesting. But that De'Aaron Fox is definitely a guy. He looked good in preseason, but it was preseason. And he's just proved it since. De'Aaron Fox is looking amazing. He won't be playing Wednesday because of that injury. But yeah, Isaiah, any player highlights you want to go over real quick?
So I think I'm glad that I'm bringing up the caboose because I'm retreading a lot of ground here, right? The NBA already picked 2 players of the week. They're guys we've already talked about being Jokic and Maxey. Maxey especially, Dog is averaging 37 and 6 this week. Those are fire numbers. I don't know if they're sustainable. I might be high. But I'm digging Tyrese Maxey right now. Wemby deserves some love, but not really, but we knew it was coming. And unfortunately, when you set the bar that high just by existing, um, getting over that bar isn't as exciting
When you're
you
not
know,
averaging 20.
yeah. There's
The,
just bigger things happening.
the one thing with Wemby that I've been the most impressed with is the game doesn't look too physical for him. So earlier I was saying with Chet, it's like the game doesn't look too fast for Chet, but it looks a little too physical for Chet right now. And I feel like Wemby, it's the reverse, where it hasn't looked too physical for him, and it's maybe looked a little too fast. You see a lot, the head on the swivel, he gets kind of lost out there. But, he makes up for it. Both those guys are going to be great. But
Yeah. Who do we have as our player of the week, guys? Isaiah, you actually brought up who I want to put as like the first vote, and that is Tyrese Maxey.
yeah.
I'm a Philly dude, so I'm good. If we're good, I'm good. We ain't even gotta keep talking about it.
He was the guy I picked for most improved, so I'm good with Max.
He's a dog, bro.
Are we going? Yeah. Are we for sure Maxey player of the week over Jokic, who has had also an undefeated week and led teams to literally dominating victories? Are we sure?
Don't care. He's the defending champ.
Should we do one for each conference, like the NBA?
Weak. That's weak. It's a Maxey, and we gonna stand on it.
He's gonna have with Maxey just because of the shock factor of it.
Yeah.
Jokic is just Jokic. I don't want to downplay what he's done, but it's hard to look at what Maxey's doing in a new role in a system that we have some.
It's all good, guys. 10:30, the very first. Oh, you guys can't see it. Fuck it. 10:30. Forget it. Sorry. 10:30. Very first player of the week, Tyrese Maxey. Not a man. Tyrese Maxey is something else. But let's go on to our next thing here. We have y'all
introduce the game. I'll do that.
All right. We definitely stole a TNT idea. But it does make me laugh every single time I watch it. So we're gonna play a little thing.
I am Chuck. Dang it.
Yeah, you are the Chuck. We're gonna play a little game here with Isaiah. Me and Josh have picked out 8 players, 4 each. And Isaiah, out of 8, we're gonna see how many you get. If you exceed expectations, we'll never play this again.
All right.
But if you look, we'll have to get a better game. More difficult game for you.
On a scale of 1 to 5 from both of you, how obscure are your picks? How deep are we going?
I scaled my picks.
Okay, so yours.
I have a rookie. I have a journeyman. I have a vet. And the vet might throw you off, but he shouldn't because you'll know after. And I have a guy who you would only have known from 2K.
Beautiful, Josh.
I try not to get crazy on it. I only picked guys that have averaged at least 15 points a game. But we're only 3 games in, so there's some names on the list that you may not expect. But I try not to pick, a 9th or 10th guy off the bench.
We're actually we're going to start with Josh's as well, right? After you lock in your guess, first of all, I'm going to pull up a calculator. Not a calculator, a timer.
All right.
30 seconds is how long you'll have.
For sure.
For each one. The first 4 will be Josh's. So whenever whenever you have decided, he will tell you if you are right or wrong. And the very first one, I'll give you the name. Once I say the name, it is
when time starts.
Actually, no, when Josh says the name of the person is when time starts. Ready? And here we go.
Alec Burks.
Oh, Alec Burks is in Utah right now, right?
Detroit.
He was in New York. Oh, okay. Beautiful. That's fine.
0 for 1. Damn, you waste no time getting an L.
Oh, no, never, bro.
There you go.
Next
Number 2.
Jalen Johnson, 21 years old.
Johnson. Toronto, final answer.
Hawks.
Okay, you know what's crazy, bro? I almost said Atlanta. I was thinking bad red teams in the East, and all right, that's fine.
Oh, here we go.
Corey Kispert.
You
He
should
is
know
not
this.
still in Charlotte. He is Charlotte.
Wizards.
Mm.
This
Yeah,
last one I feel good about.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Schroeder.
Germany. No, I'm playing. Dennis Schroeder is on the.
Come on. He starts.
Is he
He
on the
starts.
Clippers now? No, he's not on the Clippers. I didn't answer that. Relax.
East.
Dennis Schroeder starts for.
You get extra time on this. You got it, man. He's in the East and he's the starter. That's the only hints, bro. You got to at least get one. You got it.
Really far north.
All right,
no,
you're
no
giving
more
me
hints,
too
no
many
more
hints
hints, no more
here.
hints, no more hints.
Wow. All right,
You
I
got
guess
5 seconds.
I'll
You-
say
last
Toronto
guess.
again.
Toronto.
You got it.
Yeah.
All right, no more hints on these. This is not
Yeah.
I feel like we gave him too much.
Oh, for sure on that last.
I know you don't like that. Perfect. Grady Dick. He's a rookie.
He went to Wisconsin, right?
He is I don't know where he went, but he was
All right.
drafted top 10 or top 15, something like that. Yeah.
So he
was
would have
supposed to be top 10. I think he fell.
What's his last name? Grady Dick?
Grady Dick.
Grady Dick is on. Man, do I feel like Beetlejuice answering math questions, bro? Grady Dick is on. Dallas.
Is that your final answer?
Sure. I know it's wrong, but sure.
Toronto as well.
Alrighty. We know what team I don't watch.
I was gonna say.
Here you go. Dwayne Dedman.
He's still in Miami, right?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, that's my final answer.
He's Philly.
All right, fair enough. I should have known better.
Huff.
Hi, huh? Who?
That was my reaction when he told me. I was like,
J Huff, Huff.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint on him.
He
right?
plays for.
He almost listen. Here's a J Huff fact, right? He wanted really bad to play for a team who he plays on now because he was really convinced they were going to win a championship. And before he ever got there, they did win that championship.
Milwaukee.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Wrong. He plays for Denver.
You know what's crazy, bro? I almost said he was the ninth man on Denver.
Here we go.
I'm gonna put this, but never mind.
Kendrick Nunn. Last one.
He plays for Miami, dog, and there's no telling me different. That's Jimmy Butler's teammate, bro.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Hey, bro.
Last one.
Like I tell my girl all the time, bro, I'm as sure as the sea meets the sand, fool.
Well, Isaiah, you went 1 for 8.
Hey!
You were wrong.
Not a donut.
You were wrong. You had what was the one that he got right?
Dennis Schroeder, and that was
Schroeder.
a very heavy hint. I can't wait to do
Super
this
far
again next week. Oh,
yeah,
dude,
we'll have to do this again in the future, man. You got to get up on your players.
That
Hey,
J-Hop was dirty.
what happens when I get
J-Hop
good at this
was
game
dirty.
and then it's not fun, bro? I will refuse to
good at
know
this
my
game.
players. I'm gonna learn through the game, bro. Just trial and error.
You'll get there eventually. Let's talk about hot starts, rookies, hot starts, and some cold feet, man. I want to start with the cold feet. I know you guys didn't want to jump down throats of too many rookies this early. I know it's early, but 29 minutes in a game per game, only having 7.3 points per game, 2.3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Scoot Henderson is looking like a bust at that third pick. I know it's like third pick bust, but he was supposed to be the guy who was supposed to be drafted before Wemby, and he isn't even looking like he deserved a third pick. And I know there's a lot of talent. I know it's early. I know a lot of those guys are getting paid, and a lot of those guys on this team are there to play their role and score. But he's just not taking over like they thought. They thought that he was supposed to be the Blazers fans had him out like he was going to be the next Damian Lillard. And he's not even a quarter of it yet. And that's kind of sad.
I think that it's similar to, even though the sequence is different. Who was the very first guy that Cleveland drafted after LeBron left?
Wiggins?
Kyrie.
Anthony
Anthony Bennett.
Anthony
Oh.
Bennett. And do you know how warm Cleveland received him until he hit the floor?
Yeah, pretty well.
All I'm saying is when you know your girl is leaving, right? The next one you talk to, you're going to be so sweet too. Until she starts not being perfect. And then you're going to be like, man, I'm reevaluating things, right? And in that same way, they knew Dame was on the way out the door. They were drafting Scoot. They're like, there's no way they're playing together. Let's all be Scoot fans, right? So they all bought in. Everybody was really excited. The Blazers still suck.
It looked to me like they could either have moved that pick and kept Dame, or moved Dame
For
and
what?
kept the pick, and they kept Scoot, and it's now really confusing because I really honestly believe that team, they wouldn't have Ayton, they wouldn't have Brogdon over there.
They wouldn't have Robert Williams.
This
Yeah,
is going to sound crazy, right?
but
it's
still
They wouldn't have all those picks.
but regardless of the trade that got him there, he's drafted there, and what I expected of him to be, he's not half of that. And it is like he was the hyped up to be whatever team gets him. He was supposed to be the guy up until a month before the draft was the probably should draft him first. And then it was he's definitely better than Brandon Miller. And then Brandon Miller, he's drafted before Brandon Miller. He's drafted after Brandon Miller. That's ridiculous. I agreed. I said, yeah. Brandon Miller, second pick. That makes no sense. And it doesn't. And then all of a sudden, I get why the Hornets are now passing up on him, because either A is a lot of work, or B is not all he's meant to be.
I think the Hornets mainly passed up on him because of the fit with LaMelo. And I think LaMelo's a guy that has dragged that crappy team into the play-in twice when he was healthy. I think LaMelo's their guy, and Miller's a better fit.
Miller did just have his first good game, and he's on the ups for me.
But I will defend Scoot until this guy is 4 years in and playing like this. He is a 6'2" athletic guard. When is the last time that we saw a small guard come into the NBA and just boom, take off?
John Wall?
John Morant.
John took off on his first game.
John Morant took off in his first, but at least in his first three. Let's go look at John Morant first 3 game numbers.
I just
athleticism.
The guards always take longer. He's not 7'5". He's not a 7-footer. He's not getting all the blocks. I mean, I don't know. I think we're expecting too much from him on a team that there's not a lot of talent around him.
I'll agree. I like being devil's advocate here because
I think I disagree. I think there's so much talent on that Blazers team. They're young, yeah.
Their best player is Jeremy Grant.
Okay, but they also have Anthony Simons. They
Who's
also have
out for 4 to 6
growing.
weeks.
Okay, but they also have but he wasn't hurt to start the season.
For sure.
He's hurt now.
He played 1 game.
Okay, but they also have Ayton. They also have Williams. All these guys have upside.
Resting on back-to-backs already.
But wait, why are we giving Scoot the confidence of he's young and he's not playing well, but all these other guys don't get that? That's what I don't understand.
They're not rookies.
But they're still young.
But Ayton has had plenty of years to look like
none of these guys were hyped up to be as good as
Ayton was the number 1 pick.
Besides Ayton, but we've known Ayton wasn't that for the last 2-3 seasons now, right?
They gave Jeremy Grant the bag.
He got the bag because they had to pay somebody.
I think for me, I'm remembering Summer League when Scoot's playing against 1- and 2-year guys or guys that are just on the cusp, and he looked like the best player out there. He got to every spot he wanted to. He kept getting to the free throw line extended. He had a great mid-range game. I think 3 games in for a guy of his stature and size, it's going to take a little bit longer. I mean, even if you look at Wemby had an 11-point game the other night, had 4 fouls in the first 3 quarters, or 5 fouls in the first 3 quarters, and had to come out. But Wemby's, 7'5". He makes it up in other areas and stuff. But Scoot being a small guard, I'm giving him a pass, at least until the All-Star break this year. If he still looks the same at the All-Star break,
Okay.
I'll walk this back and I'll start, but I expect to see a lot of pickup here quickly.
Here's why I sit right in the middle, right? Because we should cut him a little slack. He's a small guard. He is like his
I
game
respect the
style.
All-Star break thing.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Being an athletic guard takes time to figure out in the NBA because not only do you have to be what you do the best, you're the point guard, and a lot of the offensive, a lot of push comes from your effort, right? But now that that's out of the way, right? He knew he was a small guard way before he was an NBA guard. 6'2" in the NBA means that he was 6'1" in college, which means he was coming out of high school flirting with 6 foot. He knows he's been little this whole time. And if being athletic is your game plan, with it being such a leaving anything.
Go
Go ahead.
one. I just wanted to respond to the take from earlier, right? In Ja's third, fourth, fifth, sixth game, he had the lowest of 16 points, 2 20-pointers, a 23-24, and a 30-pointer, all in like his first 8 games.
And that's why you can count.
He also led an assist. That's why I think, especially with modern guards, the 6'1", 6'2"ers aren't getting drafted high. Scoot is like the first one in a while, as far as I'm aware. But with a lot of the modern guards, they've not come. Nobody's came out hot besides Luka. Let's just be honest. Nobody at all, any position, has came out hot recently, but Luka. So outside of that, there's still players who like meet expectations or exceed a little. And Scoot being drafted number 3, and all the talks of him being supposed that was too low for him. 3 was. Him only averaging 7 in the first 3 games, it's like at least shoots like 20% with 7 points, and then I'll understand.
That's where I'm coming from, is the athleticism. If that's your game plan in the pros, that means that's been your game plan for years now. No matter what your coach's scheme has been, as a little guy, if you've got wheels, you have to let that work for you. As a big guy, I have to use being big to make up for not being fast. In that same way, right? Ja came out, didn't score less than 16, reached up to 30. It was a slightly wider range, but that's what happens when you're an athletic, explosive guy. If your jumper's not falling and you can't get to your spots, you're at least going to get free throws. That's what T-Mac did. That's what Kobe did, right? Not that those guys are trying to be him or vice versa, right? But when you're an athletic guard, you still have responsibilities to fill because your body doesn't get hot and cold like your shot gets hot or cold, or your touch gets hot or cold. You know what I'm saying?
I guess the point I was trying to make is just that his archetype, I feel like, takes the longest to transition.
When's the last archetype we've had of his is Ja, right? I feel like that's the most fair comparison.
How tall is Ja?
6'2" or 6'3"?
He's like 6'3", yeah.
So,
but I'm thinking like Westbrook, stuff like that.
But I think the Ja thing's fair, right? Because Ja came in as a secondary pick to Zion, who is this physical specimen. In the same way, Scoot came in as a clear secondary pick, who should have been the secondary pick. You get what I'm saying? The Brandon Miller was a fit thing to a physical specimen. I think there's a lot of comparison, but what's not there is the rookie. It's so early. Again, I'm saying this as like this is what's going to be for the rest of the season. He could easily turn this around, but Ja at least came in and looked like the secondary, if not the primary. Scoot's not that.
But is Ja fair to compare anybody to?
If
Ja doesn't have all this off the court stuff, Ja's an MVP caliber type player that I feel like is in a different.
John Morant, Derrick Rose, John Wall are all their archetype of guard, right? I think those 3 guys are okay to tie together. They're all 6'3", they're all athletic, they're all tough. They pass, they don't shoot great.
6'1".
He played 6'7", right? He's the outlier.
Derek. Okay. Gotcha.
He's the outlier because he's not
6'1". I think he might have been 6'3". I don't actually know.
I think Westbrook is in a fringe push. He's more play style than archetype, right? I think that Scoot needs a jump shot because Scoot is physically framed small enough to be in the.
He has a good mid range. He has a great mid range that he showed in the preseason.
But for his type of guard, like what Josh is saying, he's not a John Morant. He's not a John Wall. He's not a Derrick Rose. Because of all the hype and because of where he landed, right? Trae Young, Damian Lillard, small guy that has to be, his athleticism has to be mobility and not explosiveness to the rim.
But that's not what he's thrived on to get to where he is. He thrived in the G League as an athletic John Morant, Derrick Rose type. But I like the Westbrook comparison a lot because his stop and pop in the mid range is so Westbrook like that that's a huge part of his offense. So it's not like it's always attack, but it is always downhill. And all the guards we're talking about are downhill guards. You know what I mean? And the Trae Youngs and stuff, they're not downhill guards. Like they do a lot of like Trae Young had the whole rule change happen because Trae Young would go downhill and then jump back. You know what I mean? Just to show you that these guys aren't necessarily downhill guards.
Trae Young was a downhill guy until the rule change because he's so little.
No,
that was an advantage
where he has to be downhill. You're missing the point.
No. What I'm saying is they made that rule to curtail little guys using that to their advantage because he's little. Because he can't keep doing that and he's too little to get around the rim like other stronger little guys can, he's had to expand his game away from the rim. That's why I put those other guys.
That's the rule that like DeMar DeRozan, Luka Doncic, all like that's a move that they made popular. Not like I'm sure it was before them. It's a crab and then jump back into it.
Yeah, but
it's not a little guy thing.
But little guys need it more than anybody else.
I guess
that's why the middle-sized guys make the game look so good, is because they can do big guy and little guy things, and that's why it captures so much of us.
I got you. I don't want to go too hard on Scoot. I think we all see where we're at with him. I think we got a few more weeks we can give him and see where he's at then. But to talk about a guy who three more rookies. I'll keep two of them quick. I know one guy that Josh likes here. Brandon Miller, second overall pick. I was not very high on him. But he's averaged 15, 4.5, and 2 on 29 minutes. He just had his first 20-pointer today or yesterday. I mean, he's looking good. He's looking like a potential second fiddle to LaMelo, and that's what they need. I don't get the Paul George comparisons. I still see Danny Green in him. I don't know why. Go ahead.
Paul George is a hopeful ceiling. It's like, it could end up there. Will it probably?
Probably not going to. But regardless, he's playing well and playing himself into that rookie of the year so far. He's definitely still in talks. Another guy who I think is in that talks, but a little on the lower end, Derek Lively with 12.5 points per game, 6 rebounds, and only on 23 minutes. Playing under Luka, under Kyrie, under Grant Williams, under a lot of these guys, but still averaging 12.5. And he's been a defensive monster. Fit in real well and underrated. Not a lot of people knew this was going to happen.
He's come out a lot quicker. I mean, we talked about this the first episode. He was somebody that I was pretty high on, but I was thinking he was going to be second or third year before he really even makes an impact on the court. And he's making an impact already. He's been playing pretty well.
The bigs this year are really showing out.
Yeah.
I think the rookie class bigs. I mean, we have 3 off, already that are playing well. And then my last one, I knew one of them will play well. I'm not going to trash the other one because he's not getting a lot of minutes and the Rockets look horrible. Ausar Thompson on the Pistons, only 6 points per game, but 10 rebounds and basically 11 because it's 10.7 on 5 assists. He does have the most minutes per game for any rookie, but he is the Draymond Green. He is the glue guy for the Pistons. He is not their scorer. He does always look for a play, but he's never looking to score. It's a fun to watch. I really like him a lot as a rookie. I don't know if you guys have got to see a lot of the Ausar, but definitely gonna have to watch him.
He had a crazy block tonight in the Thunder game where
he's a great defender
behind somebody. Yeah, he looks good. Super athletic player.
Yeah, and he's definitely one of those guys that you feel like give him a few more seasons. If he keeps playing how he's playing, he's going to be able to connect it and get paid. He's the type of play style that is meant to get paid. That Draymond Green play style, it gets people money. Board man gets paid. no matter what position you are, and he's averaging 11 as a rookie, as a 3. Really sized as a 2. Any other rookies you guys want to touch on before we get off of that and get into well, actually, that would be the show.
I
Yeah.
like the duality of picks number 2 and 3, right? Brandon Miller looking great. Scoot looking like he needs the boot, right? It's perfect that they're one right after another. And I think that just circling back to we're surprised that he fell to 3, that counts as part of his bust legacy so far, or the trajectory so far. And I think that just circling all the way back to the beginning, I think that talents like James Harden have warped the NBA to a point where fit matters, but talent is heavy. Talent is heavy, heavy. And if Scoot was who Scoot was supposed to be, who we were expecting to see Scoot as, you could put him next to LaMelo. You know, if he's 6'2", really got
I
wheels
don't think
burning,
he
and he's
could.
getting up and down the floor, and he's just good enough, you take him and make it work. But they picked Brandon Miller because they saw that fit plus his talent as better than the the opposite. And I think that they look correct. They picked a guy that fit, and it just so happens to look like he's more talented. I've been high on Brandon Miller since Summer League, dog. When he bodied up Victor Wembanyama, we'll go through and learn to say that name later. Wemby got bodied by Brandon Miller. Not like beat, but just manhandled. I've loved him, since that moment in the Summer League.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he was going to be good. I thought he was going to be okay, actually. I thought he was going to be just Danny Green. And I
Mhm.
still think that. I think
I still think that's
he's getting a
trifling.
lot of touches. He's getting a lot of touches in positions in certain times of games, and then sometimes it feels like they don't care to give him the ball. When when Terry Rozier are on the court, they don't look like they care to get Brandon Miller involved. So a part of it is like, oh, he's been excelling, and the other part of it is like, is it all? Like, are we not giving it enough, or are we giving him it too much? I don't really know what's going on there.
I think he needs to play with the starters, and they need to move Gordon Hayward to the bench. I said that kind of before the season, even not being as high on Brandon Miller. I think that he's the type of player that's really going to benefit from other people creating shots for him.
Why is Terry Rozier a starter? I hear the Gordon Hayward moving back, right? I hear that, but I also have to think Terry Rozier and LaMelo are on the court to do the same thing. You put Brandon Miller in there, and it feels like you might lose a little bit in playmaking, but isn't that the entire shtick of LaMelo is playmaking? Like, wouldn't Terry Rozier just fit better as their bench piece to score for them? Because they don't have that off the bench besides Brandon Miller.
Yeah, I mean,
because
I'm
Gordon
fine with
Hayward
that.
isn't reliable at scoring. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So
Or it
put
being
him as
healthy.
your bench piece, and it's awkward. So yeah, 100%. I just don't get it makes them feel small, even though they should feel tall with the 6'7" point guard. You put Terry out there at the 2, and now it feels awkward.
Mhm.
It's just it's a weird fit they got
It
going
looked
on
like
there.
bro brought his little brother to the Y. You know what I'm saying?
I think they were betting on Miles Bridges coming back, and with this whole thing coming around, it feels like their
he's
lineup
done.
has been awkward. I think they were expecting a lineup of, follow me here, LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and
Bridges.
then Bridges, PJ Washington, Marvin Williams. I think that was
That's a
what they were
solid
expecting.
5.
That's a solid 5, and they're big, but they're also all play positions they normally play, with Miles Bridges being like, okay, he's a 4 really, but he could still play the 3. We've seen him do it.
He could guard a 3.
And
LaMelo will get him open, yeah.
They still have bench pieces. They still have a bench big. They still have a bench small forward. They still have a bench guard. I feel like, but it just didn't happen. And they made the most of it though. They're not. They've at least won a game, and that's more than I expected them to be the worst team in the East. So they're doing better than I expected.
One guy I want to bring up, Jalen Duren, leading the league in rebounds. Leading the league in rebounds. And this is a guy that I've been high on, but it kind of feels like his archetype is being kind of phased out of the league. Like, he's a big center, basically a rim runner, doesn't shoot, didn't always have the best handle. I got to catch the first half of that Pistons and Bulls game, and I saw that play where he just brings the ball up, the offense spreads out, he has a one-on-one with Vooch, and he gets a step on and takes him right to the rim, and it was like, holy crap, you know?
I hear you with the phased out, but I actually see him becoming a Bam Adebayo type of big.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think
if you can
those are
develop a
still in.
mid-range,
Yeah.
they're in, but you have to be damn good at it to
Yeah.
play and get the money. And, you know, I mean,
Being
don't
a
get me wrong,
6'9" center, it's hard to do in
Yep.
this day
And
and age.
we're still seeing guys. I mean, Derek Lively's bigger, but we're still seeing that rim runner archetype getting drafted and stuff. But I don't think there's going to be very many of those guys that have starting jobs in the league very soon. I mean, even Robert Williams on the Trailblazers is on the bench.
Yeah.
But Duran
You
seems
have
to be
to have
taking
you have to have the three.
Yeah. You
But
have to have like
Duran-
a standstill three or be a good passer at the bare minimum.
Duran
and
is so
ball
young
handler.
that it feels like this is just like anything we're seeing from him now is just a bonus in my eyes. Like he's so young that the type of progression he's having now, it's not like Cade. For me, the type of progression I'm seeing Cade have so far this season is expected. Is like, Cade, you should be doing this. With Duran, it's like we expected you to get better, but not this much. Thank you. And we saw that in the Team USA, those scrimmages with these two guys. I knew they were going to have a good season. Why I was so high on them, but I didn't think Duran would be the better of the two.
Yeah. Should we touch on the Bucks?
Yeah, we might as well. Well, wait, I forgot. New faces, new homes. That was the very first one. Dame in the Bucks. He's averaging, I don't know, before today's game, which they won, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 4.5 assists. That's Dame. Giannis has 24, 11, and 3. That was before today. They look great, but they still are stagnant often.
Oh, yeah.
No Middleton is starting to, or light Middleton minutes is starting to be very, I know why it's happening, but I don't know if they can live without him. And then it questions if Middleton is the reason why your team lives because you're running stagnant on offense. They're not a deep team. You have to have big plays from a lot of the top star guys. Will this work out in a playoff series? It's starting to make me question that. And it's early, but those are the questions popping up when I watch this team.
So I feel like it's worked pretty well. Now, I mean, granted, that Hawks game was bad. That was just bad. They couldn't hit a shot, neither of them.
That Sixers game, they got lucky in the fourth. Not lucky, but they're lucky Dame is Dame in the fourth.
But that's, I guess, I think a big thing is that or at least me, was kind of wondering, like, what's this offense going to look like in crunch time in the last couple minutes? Is Giannis going to give up the ball? Is Middleton going to, what is this going to look like? And they gave it to their best crunch time player, Dame, and they said, go work this out. There was quite a few plays where it was just Dame chucks a three, Giannis gets an offensive rebound, and that pick and roll they ran, I think in the first game, they ran it 11 times with Giannis and Dame. And 8 out of the 11 times they scored. That pick and roll combo is just going to be devastating. And we saw that
it's not just with Giannis. It's also he's doing it with Brook Lopez and making it look clean for the. And it's because Brook Lopez is an underrated passer. He then gets the options of the dump off passes to a Giannis or a corner pass to a Middleton. The Dame and any of those guys pick and roll is the options. It's looking disgusting.
I still think
scary.
They have some kinks to work out, especially with the new head coach and everything. I mean, that's the whole reason why we picked them to be lower than Boston, was because we thought they were going to kind of struggle out of the gates. But overall, I've really liked what I've seen from that group.
What about Boston? They're 3-0. They look just as good as the Nuggets, and that's crazy to say, but they do look just as good as the Nuggets. They look competent. They look deep, even though they're not really that deep on paper. They look deep in play. They look defensively great. Drew had a 6th man of the year, I guess.
He's been starting.
Is he starting? I didn't watch the last 2 games.
It's been Horford that's been coming off the bench, which honestly kind of surprised me.
Thank God. Actually, thank God.
You like that? Okay.
I like I don't know if Drew should be a starter, but if he is, you put Drew, you have Derek White, and you have Brown at the 3, you have Tatum at the 4. Yep. That's 5 at the Porzingis. That's modern NBA. That's big man unicorn. That's also dominant threes who can play the 4, LeBron James type with the Tatums. I mean, it feels like they're touching. You have dominant defenders on the outside. It feels like they're touching every single area of the modern NBA with their lineup. I love it. I love the Celtics lineup.
Something to touch on with Porzingis is, maybe just because of all the injuries and stuff, I forgot how freaking good this guy is. I mean, he is the original Wemby.
Yeah.
He is like the original unicorn. And we saw it the other night. He has that block. He blocks
That
the
New York
three-pointer
game
at Jordan
where he had
Poole,
30.
runs down, gets the ball on the other end, and dunks on the guy. And it's like, holy crap. I mean, if this guy can stay healthy, I think right now, from what I've seen, I would pick the Celtics over the Bucks in a 7-game series.
I would too.
I agree.
Before the season, I would have picked the Bucks.
Again,
it's all prefaced with the first 3 games and everything.
Yeah.
But holy crap, the Celtics look really good.
On the original Wemby thing, I think we forgot what happens if you give a player with a lot of upside and you put them onto a team that is already stacked with talent.
Mhm.
There's nobody in that starting 5 we talked about who you would leave open and double someone else for. Who are you going to leave open? Big shot, Derek White, the guy who wins playoff games for you with big shots. You're going to leave open Drew Holiday, who is known as like everyone's most underrated player and a guy who led Milwaukee without Giannis. You're going to talk. You're going to leave open Brown and Tatum.
Yeah.
You're going to leave open
Drew's
Porzingis
your
when he can
best
shoot.
option, and it's not a good one.
No, and they're like they have such a crazy lineup that I want to see them play the Nuggets before I go, all right, they're one of the best teams in the league. And they have to play a lot of teams. It's early. But it is a matchup nightmare, I think, for anybody in that Eastern Conference. I think the Bucks have the most tools to stop it. But I don't know if they have enough offense to out-offense it.
Yeah.
And that's the way the NBA is now. So, and that's also why I said Tatum would be a top 5 player and an MVP runner. They keep this up. He is clearly that.
The other
If
thing is,
Porzingis doesn't take it.
I think on the flip side of what you were saying, the Celtics match up the best against the Bucks.
I was just thinking that.
I mean, Drew Holiday, you can put Drew on Dame. You can put Brown. We've seen Brown guard Giannis.
I'm not putting Brown on Giannis confidently.
Hey, he's guarded him in the playoffs, and he's held his own. So, I mean, with the help defense and stuff, and they have Horford that they can kind of like pre-switch and everything. So, yeah, that Celtics team is scary.
I agree with you. I think they are the best in the East right now. They're going to stay that way for a few more weeks, guaranteed. Especially with Milwaukee still trying to figure it out. Any other teams?
Do we have on record whether or not I said, because I almost feel like I said that Dame will prevent Giannis from getting any more chips while they're together, not necessarily by him not being good, but by him being good and expensive.
You said he said on record he will not get any more MVPs because of Dame.
Okay. Extended to championships, right? I don't want to be that guy. They fit beautiful. I don't see a world where they get the depth that they need to compete with. Because here's what we have to think about, right? The Bucks have to beat Boston to get to the finals. Boston matches up great with them. Fantastic. Going to be a hard-fought 7-game series. Then, let's say they win, right? Dame hits a couple big shots. Giannis holds down a couple important runs, right? They have to go play a Denver team that probably 1-5, or a Lakers team, if they're lucky, that 1-6, which means they're going to be tired after playing a very hard series, going into play another hard series. At least this season for sure, they're not winning.
Here's I completely disagree. Entirely. First of all, depth isn't there. Like, I think when I say that they're having trouble scoring, it comes off like they're having trouble with personnel to score with. It's not that.
Mm-hmm.
It's that when Dame, they have yet to realize how to play when it's only Dame or only Giannis on that court, because they're getting so used to Dame and Giannis. But they're staggering minutes. This is how it is whenever you have 2 stars like this. You have to stagger minutes. It's the switching between Dame play style, Giannis play style that is changing a lot for them. And not to mention the new point guard when Dame's not in there, it's a new point guard. It's Campaign, who is also who's looking good. It's just a lot of different fits. They fit well, but they haven't completely figured out the system.
Here's my thing,
It's
right?
not a person. They're deep, and they
If
have everyone
they're-
on contract till 2025 at worst.
personnel, right? They don't have they have the personnel to score. They are deep on paper. Sure, right?
They're the best defensive team
Do they have
probably at the end of the season.
the personnel to be able to play Dame basketball and Giannis basketball separately and together at the same time?
Yes.
100%.
Yes. Because
100%.
Giannis basketball is just run up and down the court and get the ball to him.
But they
And-
were doing that with Chris Middleton was their second banana, and that was
I know what answer you're looking for, Isaiah, or how to answer this. I know what you're looking for, right? So without Dame, right, and it's Giannis minutes, right?
Mhm.
Either Chris Middleton is there at the 3, or Jay Crowder is there at the 3, who can also play the 4 for these same minutes. Say you want Giannis at the 4 and not the 5. Cool. You also have the Lopez's brothers, both of them. You
They're
also have
both there? That's
yes. You also have the Portises, right?
lit.
And then you also have right now, like I said, the main thing with the point guards when Dame isn't there is Campaign. And if he's not there, sometimes they like to have Malik Beasley take it down or Giannis. It doesn't really matter, but they like to put a lot of twos there if he's not there, if Campaign's not playing. Then if it's only Giannis minutes, not only Dame minutes, all you're doing is switching Giannis for Bobby Portis or a Lopez brother or a Jay Crowder. They still have the personnel to play both. It's just getting those guys. It's a lot of newer players fitting into a system. Bobby Portis is looking to make a jump from having a great offseason. But they also have Jay Crowder, who has to fit into the team, who's getting heavy minutes. Campaign, who's getting heavy minutes. Damian Lillard, who's getting heavy minutes. Malik Beasley, heavy minutes. All these guys are getting heavy minutes, and they're new to the team. It's a let's get this figured out, and then we'll have our offense. But the best part about it is their defense is already clicking, and that's why they're winning games. And that's such a good sign when you have a new coach and new players. That's why I'm not worried. I'm just so impressed about the Celtics being able to do it easily.
Yeah.
That's
the Celtics seem to have done it seamlessly, and the Bucks are having the growing pains that we expect.
They're being realistic.
Yeah.
I don't think a championship should be taken away yet. If they still have these pains come after All-Star break, we can discuss it I'd seriously discuss them not being able to win a chip this year, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
When the Bucks lose in the conference finals to Boston, we're going to play a game where I get to make you two guys look like you don't know basketball. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
Okay. This year, I'd give it to you because I think that was one of the biggest things with Giannis signing that contract was it kind of guaranteed them a second year because a lot of times this big merger doesn't work the first year. Especially when we're factoring in a brand new head coach. This isn't even a guy that's head coach for a different team. You know, this is his first year as a head coach. They did switch up the system.
They have guaranteed 1 year with everybody but Malik Beasley. They literally, with how much salary they're giving up, in 4 players at the end of this offseason, they're only losing 4 players and combined $8 million.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a guaranteed 1 more year with this team.
I
the
think
entire team.
One of the biggest growing pains that I saw just from like the eye test is they have to figure out how to help Dame on the defensive side.
They're just letting him. They're letting him go. They're letting him play like he's Drew.
That Atlanta Hawks game. Every time DeJounte Murray got the ball and got Dame, he took him to the rim and got an and one or an easy layup, and it was bad. There's going to be a lot of stuff like that they have to figure out. But when you look at the defenders that are on the back with Giannis and Brook Lopez, this is just going to be a thing that gets figured out over time.
And probably pretty easily, too.
Yeah. I think it gets figured out pretty quick that we need to help Dame.
Outside of Dame's defense, though, it is impressive about how many other players, including Middleton, have already clicked in defensively.
Yeah.
Middleton being a guy who's on minutes restrictions probably for most of the beginning of the season. And I'm impressed by just how well he's came back. And I'm not a huge Middleton fan. I've always liked his game. I think he's a better man's Tobias Harris. But he's looked great defensively, and that's something Tobias Harris never had. So I'll continue to be impressed. A few other things that I want to talk about really quickly. Just some records before today that I thought were impressive. Besides, obviously, the Pacers are now 2-1, so I'll take them off this list. The Magic are 2-0. That was a Joshua prediction. So far, they've looked good. Pels are 2-0. I think they just lost their first game today to the Warriors. But Zion's looked great. Brandon Ingram's looked great. Mavericks are 2-0. I think they just won again today. So the Mavericks are off to a hot start. We did not expect that. And then, as we've all said, and we've all said after the injury of Steven Adams, not before because they were on our list for playoff teams, the Grizzlies are 0-3. They are looking horrible without Ja and without Adams, and I don't think they pick it up until Ja comes back.
I will say the Grizzlies, for their situation, I thought it actually looked pretty damn good.
Do you think so? I don't.
I'm total circumstantial for losing their point guard, losing their starting center, not having their backup center. The games they played, I didn't see the one from today. They lost to the Mavericks by 15. Okay. But that Knicks game and that Pelicans game, I thought they looked okay for it. I was expecting less of them.
They're going from honestly. The 3rd seed to 0-3. It's just it's not a good start. I expected
it's not a good start.
I expected them to pick up 2 out of 3 of the games they've played, and they haven't picked up 1. And that's what's been it's how long? How many? What is the record after 25 games when Ja gets back? What is the record to you? Because to me, looking at the schedule, I think they as after these past few games, maybe win 6.
Yeah, that's
6 for 19. That's such a bad start today.
Pretty low. I get what you're saying. I think the disconnect is my expectations with this team was really low. Once we started looking at the Steven Adams is definitely done.
Mine was low, but I didn't expect a fall to it's early, but a fall to the 15th seed basically is what I'm seeing.
But they also, for me, it's the 2 games I watched, they looked better than I expected with a new point guard, with a 3rd string center. And it's not like they're out here losing to the Pistons.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
So
I
get what you're saying.
You guys
worried.
won 1 game against the Pistons.
But they're not okay, well, they're not out here losing to the Blazers or the Rockets.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So we'll see.
I don't know who we lost to so far. We've lost to the Thunder. No, we're 2-2.
Hey, bro. Hey, relax. It's an 82-game season. Y'all gonna lose to everybody at least once.
No, we won't lose to the Sixers.
Hey, put some bread on it.
No,
put some paper down, dog.
No, we definitely will.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But anyways, another thing I think we should touch on is Chris Paul. Chris Paul coming off the bench for the Warriors is the first time in Warriors. I watched a video earlier today. This is the first time in Steph Curry's history as an NBA player that any backup, since he's been starting, any backup point guard of his has had a plus or minus that is either equal or higher than his. Chris Paul is the only time it's ever happened. The minutes when Steph Curry is not on the court have been so bad for his entire career for the Warriors that even with KD, it wasn't equal or better. That now it's equal and better with Chris Paul. It's early. It'll probably mellow out to about slightly below, but that's such a good thing for this team. And it's no Draymond.
Could you build a better, and I'm talking blueprints, alien technology, and powers from powers that we don't even understand. You dig me? Can you build a better 6-man point guard than Chris Paul? Because honestly, I think you take about 6 years off his age. His age shows. His age shows.
For sure. But he is 2nd or 3rd in assists right now per game. He looks great, but the problem is right. I hear you. They're winning right now. It's awesome, but their pace has went from like top 2, top 3 to like league average.
That's okay.
And it's awesome, but Draymond is the reason why their pace goes up. He comes back soon. I expect the
Mhm.
pace to go up. I expect the Chris Paul to fall down a little bit because Chris Paul wants to
'Cause
play
he's
the
old.
slower. No, because he generally thrives in slower half court paces. That being said, I just I'm loving it so far. It's a great fit, and I think that I was wrong with saying they're not contenders anymore. But I haven't seen enough to be like they're better than the Kings, even though they play the Kings on Wednesday. They probably beat them because there's no De'Aaron Fox, but I still don't think they're better than a healthy Kings. Like that's just me.
No, I don't think so either. I think they're just too small across the board, the Warriors.
Yeah,
I think they're going to run into that in the playoffs. I mean, maybe this roster will be chalked up a bit, but yeah, it's been good for Chris Paul. I still don't love it. I think it's great to have the backup there for Curry and have a stabilizer that's getting the young guys involved, getting them into the right position, running the right sets, all that. That's all great. Overall, I just don't see this roster working out in the playoffs.
yeah.
I
I
think
think. Oh, how much are we going to put on this
Uh-huh.
in-season tournament
Oh,
/ cup? How much are we going to put on how teams are going to play on it? Let's say that before it comes, because in my opinion, teams who excel, especially towards the end of it, towards the last few games before the tournament, the finals begins, the semifinals and finals begins, I think around that time it's really going to show who the contending teams are for the playoffs. A lot of people are saying it's not going to mean much, but I think a lot of teams now have a lot of hoopers, and I think hoopers care about this.
They,
Am I wrong?
I
I
think.
don't.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I don't think they're gonna care until they're in that last four group.
Mhm.
I think it's gonna be one of those things where they're gonna go out, they're gonna treat it like an 82 game, one of 82.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong, there might be a little bit more attention on it, which is going to get players more hyped up. So we might see a little bit of better quality games, but I don't think guys are going to be.
But Josh, how many games have you watched this season? A lot, right?
God,
Just so far,
yeah.
right? How many of those games have looked like last year's regular one of 82 games? None of them. It's not felt for me. No game I've watched has felt like the players have came out and said this is just whatever. Like, it's always felt like players have came out to win, and I think this season they've done we know that they were trying to make that emphasis this year, and I think it's worked.
I just don't think we're going to see coaches play 7 or 8 guys in this.
I see you.
That matters.
You know what I mean? I don't think we're going to see that roster crunch. I don't think we're going to see
on a scale of 1 to 10, right? Where 1 is a regular season game and 10 is the NBA Finals. I think this midseason cup is going to clock in like on average a 6. Early games are going to be lower. Later games might be higher. The only reason that I put it at a 6 is because it's all relative. Last year's regular season did not look as bombastic or interesting and entertaining as this so far into
every year for the last 3 years has been
consistently
bigger and better.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is this year is better than last year.
Yep.
Is what I just for so. All right. So
far, I don't know.
If this year's midseason cup is wild and crazy, it could have very well been an 8 on exciting level last year or a 10 5 years ago. I think it's only going to be a 6 this year because we're going to get good basketball. We've been getting good basketball, but like in the early weeks of it, anybody could still win. That's cute and all, but half the teams are going to be out of contention after the first or second game of that tournament.
Right.
So you're not going to get the hooper moments until something's actually on the line because the good teams are going to win and the bad teams are going to lose until it matters. And that's where it goes up and levels itself out at a 6.
My biggest, I don't know. I disagree with you guys both. I definitely still feel like whether it is they play 11, 10-man rosters, even in these cup games. And by cup games, I don't mean Las Vegas cup games. I'm talking about pre-Vegas cup games. Whether they're playing 10, 11-man rosters, even if they're, my bad, even if they do it in Vegas, I still think with majority out of those 11 players, maybe 4 or 5 of them it doesn't affect, but the rest of those guys, what they win is a fourth of their salary. You know what I mean? Is an extra fourth of their salary.
The
or an
guys
extra
who
third.
care aren't the guys that matter. Not that
No,
everybody on the
those-
roster doesn't matter, but
That's not what I don't think that matters. It does. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't care if LeBron James is out there going 100% or if KD is. If Sham Penny is out there going 110% and dropping 25, it's still phenomenal basketball. And I think the Cup is going to promote, whether it's Sham Penny or Devin Booker, somebody is going to be dropping and going crazy. Last year, there were moments during the season, a lot of them, where it just felt like nobody cared to drop 20. Nobody cared to go crazy. It feels like, especially with this Cup, we're going to see somebody doing that. Whether that's your favorite player doesn't matter to me.
Taylor Horton Tucker is going to be hungry to drop 25 during
if he
a
drops
Cup
25,
game.
10, and 10, that's phenomenal basketball. What's the difference between him and Luka doing it?
What the heck are they doing giving him that many touches? That's Taylor Horton Tucker, dog.
Hey, we say the same thing. Look, we said the same thing about Westbrook, and then all of a sudden he wins a playoff game against the Suns getting that many touches.
Nope. Those were crazy people that got high off of that, bro. Russ has been a liability since he left OKC.
I'm just okay. Okay, look.
OKC, correct. Yeah.
My point is, we said that about Derek White until he won a playoff game for the Celtics. My thing is this: we can sit here and say, why are we giving all these players so many touches? But THT, especially being so young, why wouldn't you give him the touches? Why are we giving Brandon Miller 40 touches in a Cup game? Why wouldn't we do that? You might as well give it to him now.
That's my
5
thing.
Years from now,
Brandon Miller,
if
he's getting those touches, he's going to score because he's a rookie and he's trying to make a name for himself.
Somebody has to get it.
The Cup doesn't matter, I think, to a lot of these players. But I will say that me and Josh have taken very logical takes on this. Not that you're being illogical. I think that you identify more on a personal level, like with the way that guys think, than me and Josh do. Like hoopers. You would understand James Harden's thoughts way more than I would, and probably more than Josh would. And I think if your perspective says that it's going to matter to those guys and that THC wanting and being hungry to drop 25 and he takes the most of his touches and now he puts up 18 in a game where he would have put up 7, that matters and that contributes to really good basketball.
Yeah.
And if you are saying that those rotation pieces, those end of the bench,
somebody is going to care. And because of the statue of the fact that it's hardware. It is hardware. It is the game. They say it means something more. Somebody says it means something more. It's going to matter to a lot of players. And I think whether it's KD or it's THT or it's Kyle Kuzma dropping 30, regardless, it's still good basketball to watch. And it's not just a whatever to watch. It's not just a meaningless game.
I feel like this whole regular season, though, kind of falls under that scope, especially in the West. Like the teams are so tight that people aren't just rolling the ball out on a Tuesday night. There's really no teams. Like when you look at just the list of teams, there's maybe 2 teams in the NBA that you can just roll the ball out there and you should beat them if you're a semi-decent team. I'm just saying that I don't think we're going to see play-in or playoff level basketball, or even
we're
just
see more than what we see now. I think elevated is what I'm saying.
That's why I think a 6 out of 10 works so good because it's all relative. It's
don't think we're going
to the finals you can get in the regular season, but it's still just a 6.
I just don't think we're going to see that until it's the last 4 teams, and it's right in front of those guys. And everybody in the NBA is a competitive player. They're going to want to compete for it.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying. The role players maybe will get up for a little bit more, but I don't think that really elevates that much. You know, I
don't know. It kind of felt like you made my point a little bit when you said it feels like every game is going to mean a lot more this season. And that's why that's the whole crux of my argument is that this season already feels like every game means more. And with that being said, it already feels like it means more with games that genuinely normally mean nothing.
For sure.
Now imagine when they get a title on them. and then the same level of being played, and now they get a title, which means in my eyes it's just going to get elevated, not to play it, maybe play-in level. Yeah, I'm willing to say play-in level.
Playing level is like a game 7.
I'm talking about look, come those last weeks before Vegas, play-in level.
So you're telling me those last couple weeks you think teams are going to be playing 7 or 8 guys? Like it's a win or go home situation.
We didn't. Okay, I don't know what playing games you're watching, but us Bulls playing games, we're playing like 11 men.
You guys don't know how to win. That's probably
you guys blew a lead to the
Here's what I'm saying though.
My bad.
There's not a
first round playoff series, not game 7, not game 6, game 2, game 3, game 4. Not elimination games. General series is tied type of games is what those last few week Vegas will feel like. And I do feel like the Vegas games probably feel like playing games.
I think that we are not far off on our takes from each other, right? Because I think with how good this regular season is, there still has to be a baseline to the 1 to 10. Every game can't be a 3. You know what I'm saying?
If this is the baseline, it's already like I think we're already at a 6 compared to last year.
But what I'm saying is that's cool, but we're still at a 1 because that's this season's regular season. And so I think we're going to get up there in energy and intensity close to playoffs, but everybody's not going to be locked in like it's the playoffs. The consequences for losing aren't like they are in the playoffs. I think if you're in a play-in game and you're treating it like a mid-season cup that has nothing to do with seeding, you're messing up. Not like you as a person, but like y'all's whole 1 through 15 is making a mistake.
No, because you guys, I don't think you guys are realizing the NBA is a business. They just added something that to them in 5 years from now is on the level of the All-Star game. They just added something this season that to them 15 to 20 years from now could be monetarily the same level as first rounds in the playoffs. That means something when there's that many eyes to players. So if I can come in and win the very first cup ever,
for
dominate that, I'm in the history books for 15, 20 years. Players care. Jokic cares. And I think when Jokic cares, everyone cares.
Just real quick, right? In college football, they save the bowl games for the very end as a consolation for the teams that competed well enough in their division to have a postseason, but not good enough to actually be in the real postseason, right? That doesn't mean that that's when all the bowl games happen. When Auburn and Alabama play each other every year, that's called the Iron Bowl. It's the Alabama state rivalry, right? To those teams and to those fans, that game means so much, right? Their ticket sales go through the roof. Neither one of them sells as many tickets as they do on that week ever in the season, unless it's for a hosted bowl game. But at the end of the day, when the fourth quarter's over, helmets are coming off, guys are unstrapping their pads. It was just a regular season game. And even if they had a historic performance in the Iron Bowl against their state rival, and it's a history book moment, it's still in the regular season history books.
You're talking about a whole other sport.
No, I'm talking about the ethos of sports.
All right, you're talking
all
about
sports.
You're talking about a whole other.
I'm
sport.
not. That transitions. Right. I'm talking about the titling a game. Don't shush me, dog. I'm talking about titling a sporting event. That's what you hear football and you're like, that can't be the same.
No, because basketball has already done this. Everything you just described is exactly what the EuroLeague does already. Has been already doing.
Who's watching the EuroLeague?
Anybody ever. It is literally the second most popular basketball league in the world. Basketball is literally so huge. Like,
it is a global sport.
So many people.
It's a global sport for sure. But if you're watching basketball, it's the NBA plus something. And if to have to go to the plus something.
Huge. No, the EuroLeague is so huge. They already do this type of thing. It already means something to a lot of players, to their record books, to all that. At the end of the day, NBA players care about the record books. A lot of them, granted, only care about getting paid. That's fair. We've been over that. But a lot of them are hoopers. They care about the record books, putting something, doing something, meaning something. That's what this is being provided for the NBA. That's what this is. Whether the games during the pre-Vegas games might not mean as much, but come Vegas, it's going to mean something, and it's going to mean something huge.
And I don't know if it means it's going to be huge. I just think it's going to be the natural competitiveness, and there's something to win right in front of these guys, and they're going to play. But so we're all disagreeing on this slightly. The one thing that I think we can all agree on is the people that say this play-in or the in-season tournament is stupid. I think they're wrong. This is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's
100%.
anything like super special, but I just, I saw a lot of people like that were really, really against this, didn't want it to happen. And I really don't get why. It doesn't add any more games besides the teams that play in the finals. They'll play one extra game.
And they get paid to do it.
They get paid to do it. And I think it's kind of cool. We saw that they're adding new courts and stuff like that for the in-season games. I think it's going to be pretty easy to follow along. What is it, every Tuesday and Friday of November, or every Wednesday and Friday?
It's every Tuesday and every something. So I think it's Wednesday, something like that.
Yeah, it's either Tuesday and Friday or Wednesday or Friday. So it's going to be easy to follow along. You're going to be able to just turn on your TV and know all of these games are cup games. It's not, or in-season tournament. I think overall this is a cool idea. And I do think when it gets down to the Final Four, we'll see guys naturally be competitive and want to win. But I don't.
These are the courts for the in-season tournament. I'm not a fan. Are you guys a fan of the trophies being in? They're in every single one.
I mean, it's a motif that they're all going to use. Like, they're all primary colors and trophies. And I think that's like a cool template to go with for the league. It's
this looks horrible.
That's going to be hard on the guys,
This looks horrible. This is horrible.
If they were the right jerseys, that might be cold AF.
They do have the leaks out, but not until the 2nd of November or do we get the official jerseys for these.
Mm-hmm.
They're the new city jerseys.
Cleveland's looks fire.
Yeah. The Mavs looks cool.
Dallas looks fire.
The jerseys they have for these don't.
Dallas is so bad at jerseys.
This is so bad. I hate this so much.
That's
Just too much. This right here, like they are smart here at least. What is this?
What other colors could they pick though?
No, not the colors, just the bunching. The words all right here. They left so much space right here, but they put it all together. It's
all back up to Dallas. Okay.
Yeah, see, they at least like staggered
everybody else. Yeah,
staggered.
But they were like, they're like, we're gonna be all like, and
that's not a bad.
Detroit's is fire, yo.
I like the gray.
That's sick.
This looks like a UPS.
Warriors looks horrible.
Yeah, it looks like a box, cardboard box.
Yo. This I don't like. This looks like a Clippers one, and it's Houston.
I think the red is going to be hard on the eyes, man.
I think a lot of teams are going to mess up with the red.
I don't know why they didn't at least keep the outside a different color, or at least put normal wood. I don't
know.
Ooh, that's fire. That's giving me theme park go-karts.
The middle's fire to me. Everything else is bright. I don't know.
I like bright. I'm a pastel guy. I'm rocking with it hard, bro.
I like the lettering.
Also that, yeah.
I like the lettering here too.
I hate that looks like Wizards stuff.
Yeah.
Aside from the colors, like the font reads Wizards. I saw the leaks for those jerseys. I hate them.
Yeah.
They got to go back to the Compton Gothic lettering. They just got to ride with that.
This feels basic, right? This feels basic and kind
of. The Lakers are in the same lane as a lot of other historic sports teams, where it's really hard to play with it. Like, what were they supposed to do? Like Boston, where they just one color?
It's just too bright. It just feels too bright.
I think the players are going to pop off of it well. This is going to sound weird, but yellow goes good with brown skin, and there's only so many white guys in the league.
They started a white guy.
All right. I'm not doing the kickback is not bleeding into this show.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
It's gonna pop nice as long as they wear the right color jerseys. Because if jerseys get messed up, I've seen it in the video game, bro. It's hard to see. It's hard to see.
Yeah, I just get worried with these like very bright and then the one stripe middle. It feels like I'm looking at a shuffleboard sometimes. But I
Grizzlies.
like.
Oh,
this.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's
like
the best one. Holy shit.
Yeah, I did see the
Yeah.
jersey leaks, and the jerseys don't look good. But
I think
love
they're
that
reusing an old
embroidery
design, right?
they're
on the
reusing it, but they're
outside.
adding like the. I don't think I can zoom very well here. I'm
That
gonna try.
texture.
This texture as the
Yeah.
letters. The MEM literally is just these three right here. If you can
Uh-huh.
see them,
I
MEM
think
like that.
that's lazy and it looks terrible.
I-
But the
Really?
court is fire. I hate the MEM.
I
Ugh.
love that.
Heats feel basic.
Fire.
normal.
Ugh.
I don't like it. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's going to be the easiest red to look at. The crimson.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's the easiest
Okay,
red, but
out
I
of the
think,
Reds, yeah.
but I don't like any of the reds, and I think the red and gray is just what's awkward to me.
Yeah.
Right, because it feels like very lively, and then it just feels dead.
Well, they're home. They're going to be wearing white jerseys when they're there, so that will look fine.
Well, they're
but
wearing they're wearing city jerseys for these, and the
are
city
they not
jerseys-
just wearing their okay?
While we're looking at these, I'm gonna pull up city jerseys,
Mhm.
the leaks. But again, these are just leaks. But yeah,
bad.
we'll keep going here.
Oh,
Bucks is
terrible. That's
I want to
horrible.
like it. I want to
All
like
right.
it, but it's not good.
If they
Before,
had that strip white,
yes,
think
if that was the Cream City colorway and not some
yeah, that green is just that's bad.
green
That
screen.
green is Celtics green. That's Celtics
That's
green.
green screen.
That's hide it on camera green, dog. Get that
that's
out
fine.
of here. Scroll, man.
Oh.
That's
Fire.
not bad.
Minnesota. Not
I don't
bad.
think it fits Minnesota, but it's fire.
Yep.
Yeah, it fits Andrew Wiggins for some reason. I'll keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh,
That's
what is it
bad.
with this
This
terrible
is a baseball
green?
field. This is a baseball field, right? This all it looks like to me. It's like a baseball. I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate this.
that's terrible.
This is
Fire.
I
that's
like
cool.
I like
Even-
it.
Yeah, no debates. That's
Very,
it. I
heat.
like that. Yeah.
yep.
OKC.
OKC.
It's
I wish
okay.
Milwaukee
It's
did
okay.
something like OKC.
It's okay. It's only okay for me.
I like the logo.
I like the
And-
logo,
and
but
You
I
know
don't
what's
like the
crazy? I think I'd
Yeah.
like the logo better if the Navy accent was white everywhere but inside the basketball. You dig me? If that
Yep.
was a white triangle and letters instead of it just fading, because
Yeah.
it gives me false see-through because you can't see the trophy. And I'm like, man,
I
just
see
fill
what
that
you're
in
saying.
'cause
Yeah, I think
it
that's
doesn't pop right.
Yeah. I agree.
that's
Magic
cool.
Basic. It's heat,
Basic.
but it's basic.
is
Yep.
chill.
It gives me Disney vibes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Phillies. All right.
Wait, before we go, look, doesn't Magic looks like they just kind of stole the Dallas football
Cowboys.
team.
Yeah, that
Cowboys
all looks
look-
like Cowboys top
Oh,
to
yeah.
bottom.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are
I
one of
don't
those
even watch
teams like the
football, but
Lakers
that
where you
it
can't
just
play with
looked
the
it so
colors.
fast.
Yeah.
76ers.
That's
This is
what.
bad.
No,
This is bad.
that's great, and that's actually what New Orleans should have went with.
No, dude. Just
Yeah,
imagine sitting in the stands looking.
You hate
down
red
at
and blue.
All no, it's. I agree.
red
I don't think they
courts
should
are
be
bad.
together, but all red. The red courts just feel like I'm looking down at like you playing on a giant crayon.
Yeah.
Ooh, say
We'll
that
have
again.
to see.
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Next, this is the Suns.
Okay, so
I
I
don't
have
mind
been a very vocal hater of the turquoise pops. If that's orange, that court is horrible.
I agree. I agree.
I don't think, because I've tried it, it's really hard to make orange and purple pretty together. They've got the two shades that play decent with each other. I've always thought it's kind of ugly, but there's nothing better you can do with that. Maybe white. Yo, maybe if the court was white instead of purple and that stripe was still turquoise, I'd rock
I
with it a
like
little
I
harder.
like whatever's going on down here. This is
Yeah.
one of the cooler
That's-
designs. In the I don't mind it. I don't think it's good. I think it's weird to say this is Suns. I know they have purple, but there's none of like the
turquoise.
Suns colors. There's no the orange. And if they would have
Yeah.
added the orange in somewhere besides on the accents of the Val, Rip City.
That's
This is
fire.
actually the only red one I like. I
was
actually
gonna
like this red
say,
one.
You know what?
This is
The
probably
de-
the best.
Best tier red one.
This right here, though, I don't like the
flannel
opposite,
pattern?
The
Yeah.
flannel pattern.
It's kind of
yeah.
random.
No, it's
Yeah.
Seattle, or it's Pacific Northwest as it gets, bro.
That's fair. That's
They're-
fair. I didn't
they're
even think about
repping
that.
hard.
Yeah, they're
I
repping
like
hard.
it. I love it, man. And I hate the Trailblazers. Whoo! That's heat. That is
Sacramento's
heat,
good.
bro. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's fire.
That old Kings logo is so.
Now
Yes.
this golden one, it's so hard not to see a cereal box when I see
It
it.
is.
I don't know why.
It is.
It's not a cereal box. It's not a cereal thing, but it just feels like cereal-esque.
You know what's crazy? I loved that at first, and the more I look at it, the more I hate that shade of gray. It still looks cool, but I guess it's because my pops used to mix pigment for paint, like for mulch and plastic, right, for a living. He'd come home that color of gray a lot, and it gives me like industrial gray, and not in a good way.
Next, San Antonio.
Horrid.
I don't know what's going on here.
That's Seattle. That's the Space Needle.
Yeah.
That is
This is just a homage to Seattle. Thank you, San Antonio.
Viva Spurs. They've been trying really hard to go in on that Mexican heritage recently.
Mhm.
I digress. This is fire.
Ooh, that's
This is
the best
fire.
one.
This is the
This
best
is
one
the
so
best
far.
one.
They wasted it
By
on the
far.
Raptors. That's crazy.
Yeah, Nike really went out hard right here.
Yeah.
Utah.
Not bad.
Okay. I like Utah.
This matches their jerseys that I see.
I like Utah. Yeah.
We'll do the jerseys next week. I just realized the time.
Oh yeah.
And then we got Wizards.
What
Not
is
bad.
it with all of these?
I actually don't mind.
I don't know where
I
this
don't like how
color
much
comes
gray
from.
is so much going on in the NBA right
that
now.
mint. I was terrified that the Blazers were going to do a stupid mint line instead of that crispy red and gold. I hate the greens that we saw today. Celtics A tier because it was
Red's
classic.
bad.
Raptors S tier, fire.
Kings were good.
Kings was
was
A
good.
tier. Were there any other like absolutely fire ones that I'm forgetting?
I remember liking.
I really liked Memphis.
Trailblazers was good.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis was good. The court was good for Memphis compared to the jerseys. Yeah, I think that's right, man. I like
Was
the Trailblazers
Atlanta's?
one. I don't remember liking Atlanta.
Okay, yeah.
But all right, man. Well, that is the episode. Before we get 2 hours, cut it off now. Anything you guys want to throw in there at the end before we go ahead and get up out of here, or we'll do closing statements? What's up?
You guys were wrong about Scoop. That's all I'm saying.
All right, we'll see. Next week we'll see how he's doing.
Hey, I'm a big boy, and if I gotta eat my words, ding ding, it's time for dinner. But you know what? I think I'm gonna be hungry, dog, because I don't speak nothing but facts. That's why they call me the prophet in the streets.
All righty, and on that note, Prophet, send us out.
Hey, I'm dancing.